All right, well, analog ciphers, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube and beyond, I'm going to be giving you a basic rundown, a guideline to basic encryption. So we're going to ask ourselves, well, what is a cipher? It's essentially a set of rules it's a set of rules, or a form technically, of secret writing, or a way of writing that hides the true meaning of a text from any reader other than the intended recipient. Although please understand, it doesn't hide the actual text, just the true meaning of it. So what that means is that the encryption process takes clear text, takes a message, and processes it into the ciphertext, or an unintelligible message. And the decryption process processes ciphertext to clear text. It's the reverse operation. So the goals of our cipher usage are 3 points. 1, we want to ensure any message that is processed is processed as unintelligible ciphertext to protect the real message. And then 2, we want to ensure that the keys, or passwords, quote unquote, are kept safe and hidden and only known between the sender and the receiver. And last point, even if an eavesdropper actually knows what the cipher is, what matters truly is that he does not know the key. And of course, we are going to briefly discuss the difference between analog and digital ciphers. In summary, analog ciphers are hand and paper ciphers, and rotor machine ciphers are base ciphers. And digital computers used computer processors to calculate ciphers. Digital ciphers were originally created in the 1970s. Digital ciphers have been used for very fast, if I might add, encryption using computer processors solely using software. The Data Encryption Standard, or DES, and the current Internet Encryption Standard, the Advanced Encryption Standard, the cipher's name is actually Reindahl, but we don't call it that, are the most popular. Other very notable ciphers that are just as strong are Serpent, Mars, Twofish, and Camellia. Although, if you go back to the AES competition, you'll find that Serpent was actually significantly stronger than Reindahl, which is what we currently use, but it wasn't as fast. Now, analog ciphers. Now, they were created since the Roman Empire, classical ciphers, or analog, all the way up to the Vigenère cipher, to the invention of the rotor machines and one-time pads. These ciphers have been used, or have been created, and then broken time and time again, due to primarily linguistic flaws when men and women performed dozens of calculations per hour. Whole warehouses, whole boardrooms filled with men and women with nothing but pen, paper, and doing math equations, each one given a small piece of the puzzle, so that way the whole room could try to solve the equation or the puzzle of the encryption that they intercepted. Now, in the age of computers, the primary weakness now is the mathematical weakness of the analog ciphers. For example, a low-end dual-core CPU and 4 gigabytes of RAM may perform well over 10,000 calculations per second. That is, it can process 10,000 passwords per second if need be. Well, more than that, an entire building full of cryptographers working 12-hour shifts. Modern low-end GPUs may well perform over 1.2 million calculations per second. That is a significant difference. Now, why would we even use analog ciphers in the first place if we already have provable security in the digital realm? Well, sometimes digital is not necessary, and in other times not even wanted at all. Well, because first off, the answer to these questions is that it's cool, it's classic, it's the OG, it's the original. It's how people used to do it before, and it worked. It's time tested, battle tested. If you don't have digital, you go back to this. It's proven security. And also, paper is very easily damaged and destroyed. So if caught with the message by an enemy or an adversary, well, let's just say enemy at this point. If you're caught by an enemy, then you can easily destroy the paper by ripping it up, then throwing it in water, or simply grabbing a lighter and burning it. Even though the message may not make it, at least the enemy won't have it. So here's a third one. Messages can also be mailed and delivered discreetly. You get a mail, you get your message, you print it out, you type it up, or you write it down, you fold it up, you put it into an envelope, preferably a security envelope, and then you mail it. Unbeknownst to anyone, it's nothing but regular mail, and that of which it is. But also unbeknownst to everyone else, it's an encrypted message. The decrypted message between Alice and Bob about their romance or plans to elope, or Alice describing her medical condition to Bob, or Bob describing his financial positions to Alice, and so on and so on. What happens between Alice and Bob should stay between Alice and Bob, especially their messages. So, and then 4, it avoids all internet spying altogether. Because these messages are not sent over the internet, there's no risk. There is literally no risk of any online interception. So if you're worried about hackers, you don't have to be. If they're in the digital world, you simply leave their world and you go back to the real world. And 5, it encourages human interaction and outgoing behavior. If you're one of those people who have social anxiety and you've been really wanting to get out and interact with people, but you're too scared to, start small. Have a friend, pen pal, and you have an analog cipher to exchange confidential information between the two of you. Then that encourages you to, okay, you know what? I'm gonna write my mail. I'm gonna encrypt it. I'm gonna type it or print it and then fold it, put it in a security envelope. That forces you now to go to the UPS store, USPS store, the United States Postal Service store, and then deliver it in person. A brief interaction between, hey, good morning, or good afternoon. I'd like to send this letter. Okay, ma'am, or okay, sir, or okay, other. What what would you like to send? I would like to send this. Okay, that'll be 89 cents, or that'll be 86 cents, 90 something cents, whatever, $1 and something. Okay, here it is. Okay, there's a stamp. We'll go ahead and take this. You can expect it to arrive in 1 to 3 business days. All right. Well, thank you for that. Much appreciated, good sir or madam. And then there you go. You've now engaged in an outgoing behavior, and you've had basic human interaction. Start small, earn small. And finally, 6, it allows for ensuring confidential communication between two parties discussing sensitive and private information. The same thing that I've said before at a previous point between Alice and Bob. Now, what analog cipher should you use? Well, my recommendation is to use the Vegeneer cipher. Use a rotor machine, preferably simulated, unless someone is selling a rotor machine for less than $1,000. You best believe you better save up money to grab one. And then, of course, you can always use one-time pads, although I do understand they take a good amount of time and mental calculation to do. So only use those for top secret information, if I may say. And then, of course, first off on the list, we have the Vegeneer cipher. It's easy to use, it's quick to use, letters only, and it's got decent security, dependent on the key, of course. And then, of course, what I have a preference for is the KL7 rotor machine. It was created in the 1950s. It uses the re-entry principles, which greatly benefits it and sets it worlds apart against the German Enigma machine of the World War II. And then the encryption strength is equivalent to 112 bits of a digital cipher. And it does take some time to enter the rotor settings, but no more than 1 or 2 minutes. And this has strong, provable security, so long as you change the wires. And then, of course, you have the one-time pad, which, as I said before, it takes a long time to encrypt and decrypt. Each password is used only once per message, and it encrypts letters only, using a Stradalline checkerboard. Yes. So, this being said, let me go ahead and show you. Let me go ahead and show you, where is this at? Yes, here we go. These two. The first link is a link to a one-time pad password generator. My recommendation, go to the website, click Save As, and save as an HTML document, because it runs in the browser itself, and therefore on your actual computer, and not over the internet. And next one is going to be ciphermachinesencryptography.com. It used to have a different name as UserTelnet, but no longer so. Go to the second one and it'll provide you more information with the one-time pad. And with that being said, let me go ahead and give you a brief example of what to do with the machine itself, the Vegeneer cipher, and but I won't go over the one-time pad. You can do more research into that. That is a long video, and there are dozens of videos online describing online pads, both the numbered version and numbers only version, and others describing the letters only version. So go ahead and YouTube that.
Talking about
The numbers, Mason. What do they mean? Where are they broadcast?
I don't know anything about any numbers.
What about
The first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go here and you're going to want to look up crypt tool. And then, well, it's going to be spelled as that, crypt tool, apologies. And then you're going to go straight to, you're going to make sure the URL is correct as https://www.crypttool.org. You don't want .com or nothing else, just .org. You're going to go straight to downloads. Alright, from here, you're going to go to the English. For me, I'm going to go for the English version, although you could go for the German, the Spanish, the Polish, Serbian, and the French. And then you're going to click on those, download them, and then once they're downloaded, you are going to open it up. And you will be greeted with this friendly message. You're going to then close this. And let me minimize this. Okay, let us go ahead and start with the Vegeneer cipher. Let's say we want to send a message. We'll say, well, we already know the message is going to from Alice to Bob, and so the message would be written from Alice and then to Bob and then dates, etc. So we don't need to write that. All we need to do is we need to write, let's see, an example message would be, let's see, it would be, let's see, if we get sentimental, let's see, my dear, I have missed you so, and the nights are so long without the and so from your work trip. With great love and affection, yours always, Alice. Simple as that. So we take a message like this, we encrypt it, we go to Symmetric Classic, we go to Vegeneer, and then we type in a password. In this case, we don't want to make a password such as bully or liberty, because those can be broken quite easily, and I will actually show you. Let's say they hate authority and they want to put let's say they want to do this. They put liberty because that's what they put it all in. So they go to encrypt, okay, and then let's go ahead and change this to carrier 12, and we have this. But now they want to mix it up a bit, and they want to break it up into blocks of 5, simply to confuse any potential eavesdroppers. So the message would look like this. It would look from Alice to Bob and then date. Although date would probably be the first line, so it would be date from Alice to Bob to Bobbin to Bob. Okay, so we take this message and we can actually break this message now, so you understand why you shouldn't use single words. We go to analysis, we go to Symmetric Encryption Classic, we go to ciphertext only, and we go to Vegeneer. We click on Vegeneer, and the computer has done a quick autocorrelation of it, and you can see here what the computer has been able to detect with the with what letters correlate with each other, in the sense of how many bigrams in this, like AA or BB or TH or CE or DE or THE in the form of trigrams, and HI and HEL, etc. And how many times does this repeat after all? After a certain amount of time. Although, because it's encrypted, it would be, for example, NE or CF, as you can see here. How many times would those be encrypted? NE, and then a certain amount of letters, and then NE again, etc. So this computer has, within 1 second, has derived the key length of 7. We click continue, and the computer says that it believes, to the best of its knowledge, that the key is Liberty. All right, then let's go ahead and decrypt it. And there we go. We have "My dear, I have missed you," etc. Now, considering that Alice wishes to strongly keep this message private, what we will do is we will go to encrypt. We're going to go back to Visioneer, and we are going to change the password into Liberty for all Americans. Oh, I pressed the space. My apologies. All Americans alike. There we go. And then we encrypt, and now we have a similar beginning, but everything else after 7 characters changes, which is really good. So then we let's see, go to font, we change it, and then we go to format text, divide into blocks of 5, so that way it breaks up the message, makes it more difficult for cryptanalysis. Oh, we have an even block. Very nice. Not technically even, but it's full. They have a full block. So let's try to break this again. We go to Classic, we go to Ciphertext Visioneer. All right, the computer says, based on the autocorrelation of this message, it believes that the key is 2. It's going to be AX. All right, then let's go ahead and decrypt it. This is not the message we got, but it goes to show that the real strength of a cipher, no matter how well the cipher has been designed, it's if a cipher has been quite well designed, peer reviewed, and been publicly determined to be a very strong encryption algorithm, no matter what algorithm it is, whether it's hand and paper ciphers, a mechanized cipher, or a digital cipher based on run in software. If it's proven to be a strong cipher, then that means the primary weakness would rely on the key. So that being said, whenever you do write your messages, you could encrypt it as such, which is with the MY becoming XG, and the dear becoming EIRK, the I becoming G, and the have becoming MOME, etc. Although that does create patterns, because it lets you know, okay, well, this could be my, this could be hi, and then from there you can start breaking it, even if each letter has a different encrypted a key letter for it. You can still use this to quite reasonably estimate what words could be this based on word sense and structure. That's why we break it up into 5-letter groups, and then after we encrypt it. And so what would become what the attacker could believe is hi and then dear, considering that it's from a woman and that they would be more sentimental than men, then they could presume that it would be my dear, which is actually a historical truth that unfortunately has led to some deaths and imprisonments of women during the Cold War, during World War II, and especially World War I. In particular, in the United States of America, before the OSS was designed, and the only thing that was formed was the American Cipher Bureau, led by Herbert Yardley, and they had unfortunately broken a German cipher that from a secret agent that had been elusive for well over a few years. And they broke one message because of one mistake she had made. Just one mistake she had made. As you know, the devil's in the details, and she wasn't that one time. And as a result, her message was intercepted. It was decrypted, and based on the writings, it was quite feminine-like in the sense that it was quite sentimental in its writing. It wasn't as directing as commanding, as much as a man's writing would be. Although don't be dismayed, because the letter itself, which I've read myself, was quite authoritative. Apologies, but it just wasn't as commanding. So using that linguistic difference between males and females, the American Cipher Bureau in the 1910s were able to break the message. Now, of course, that was only one aspect of it, but that one aspect allowed a small crack in the encryption, which allowed them to find other cracks, and eventually they broke they broke the encryption and found the key. Now, with that being said, you now have an understanding as to why the Vigenère cipher has such decent security. An attacker could go more into depth and take a few days to attack this, but unless they're highly motivated, it's quite unlikely that any attacker would be looking at this and be desiring to break your messages, especially if it's just simply between an Alice and a Bob discussing romance, or Alice discussing how much she misses Bob from work and how the kids are doing, or how Bob is saying how much that he dislikes his job and describes his distaste for his management or describes his likes for his coworkers, etc. And also that, they could be discussing medical information. For example, if Bob has had a work injury and needs to convey that confidentially, he could use this, because if he can't walk or has trouble walking, he can still use his hands, and that's good because he can encrypt the message for Alice, so that way he could send this to her, and she could understand the situation and thereby the gravity thereof, and from then adequately prepare for the future, of course, when Bob gets home. Now we have work comp and all that good stuff, but back then there wasn't. So, all right, well, now you understand that why the Vigenère cipher has decent security. And believe it or not, the Vigenère cipher is still used today. It is a very strong, implementation of a cipher. The primary issue is the keys, or the keys, because you need to write the keys. You need to write the keys in advance and agree with your partner or your friend which keys you're going to use and for which day or for what month. And if you're not going to be exchanging messages that long. So that's the only weakness of this, which would be the key size. How long are you going to make it? Are you willing to sacrifice security for convenience? Or do you have enough time and you are confident in your abilities to where you are quite willing to sacrifice convenience for the sake of security? Because Alice doesn't want anyone knowing what she's going to say to Bob. God forbid that her neighbors find out, and then she becomes the gossip of the town. Nonetheless, you now know that the Vigenère cipher is decent. Alright, let's go ahead and go to the KL7 rotor machine. Alright, and going back to Google, you are going to type in KL-7 machine and then sim. Oh, I still have the cap lock on. Oh well, it is what it is. And then it should lead you to the Cipher Machines and Cryptography.com, the KL7 simulator. This will give you information on it. And then you can click this one, download the simulator. It's the zip, although preferably I personally prefer the Java. Although you will need to have Java installed, and if not, install it before this. In order to do that, you go here and you go to Java download, and you need to ensure that the website you're going to click on is going to be java.com. You download for the Windows or download it for the Mac, however you'd like to go. And then now for my example, I'll be showing you the Java version. So you download it and then you open it up. So let's get out of this, Let me go ahead and open it up for you. Here we go. This is what it looks like. And you're going to have a you're going to be able to generate keys which look like this. You could do a single key which you can print out and then share between you and your friend, and then you can have that for 1 month. The only main issue is you'd have to have a new message key for each message. And you could write that out, and in the manual it gives you an example as to how to transmit that. Then also you can also make one for 1 month. You can also make it for an entire year. You can key generation. It'll be random. Now this is the keys generated is based off of the Mersenne Twister random number generator, and it takes it from the time. It takes it from the password is generated from the specific time. So if it's 4:03 a.m. for example, and on September 23rd, 2019, although this is being recorded in 2023, as an example, and it's actually 4:03 and 23 seconds when you click the generate button. That whole time, from day, month, year, time, hour, minute, second, it will generate that as a key. It will use that as a key, and then pushed into the Mersenne Twister, it will, of course, metaphorically twist it into a password, and then that, based on that password, it will create a new key for you. So something to think about. You could also change the classification from confidential, restricted, secret, top secret. Now, in reference to these confidential levels, restricted is no longer in use by the United States government. Only confidential, secret, and top secret. The difference between the three is confidential is what's currently in use and what's mostly data that's in use, in the sense that what's going on right now, but if the information were to be leaked or were to be discovered, then it would cause damage. It wouldn't kill you, it wouldn't cause bruises, but it certainly would hurt, like a light slap, or a light push, or even a push. Not even a light push, but a push. It's not a punch, but it's a push. It's still aggravating and it's still quite annoying, but it's not going to hurt you for a long time. Now, secret is if that information was leaked, then it would cause moderate damage. That's equivalent to like a punch to the face, a punch to the stomach, or a kick to the knee. I shouldn't say that. That's quite damaging. Or if someone pushes you real hard against a hard wall and you hit the back of your head, that kind of damage equivalent, physical damage to the damage that would be if you left it out. It would cause damage that could affect you for several months, and would definitely be something you'd want to keep secret. Now, top secret information, in particular, is information that needs to fulfill one or two scenarios. One, the scenario must be a life-changing event. Or two, the scenario must be a life or death situation. That's the only reason the message would be top secret. So, for example, if Alice and Bob are planning to elope, that would classify as a life-changing situation, or a life-changing scenario, however you'd like to put it. That information would be regarded as top secret, and thereby the classification for that level would be top secret, in which case you would want to double encrypt each message, because all top secret messages are double encrypted, even for the United States federal government. Even though they use AES 256, they always double encrypt each message. It's just the way things have been. It's the way it will always be. So now that you have an understanding between what's confidential, secret, and top secret information, you're now good to go. So that being said, let's go to the next one, rewiring. Just going to bring these up. You can change the title of it if you'd like. It essentially rewires the rotors. There are 13 rotors. You can go A to M. The notched rings, you can also change the physical position, technically, the virtual physical position of the notched rings, and then you can also change the base plate. The base plate is somewhat similar to a permeator or the plug board on the Enigma machine. We're going to leave that alone. I'm not going to change anything, but you can. It'll be saved as a text file. Just make sure to keep that text file always on your hard drive, on your solid state drive. Do not ever have it touch the internet, no matter what. Keep it on the hard drive. If you're paranoid, which I don't know why you would be, but if you're paranoid, put it on a USB and disconnect from the internet when you do this, etc. Now that being said, let's say you have a message and it pops up. You want to go to P. Yes, it is fairly loud. And then you're going to want to go here. You're going to click confidential here. And then it's going to pop up the rotor selection and the inner settings. And then from here you change it. They're going to change this to D, and then we're going to set the key. And let's say it's going to be A. Well, we gotta make a new message key. So let's make a new message key. We're going to do AAA BBCC. All right, cool. We know it works. So now let's go to E. We are now going to create it based on that. AAA BBCC. All right. So now we go to P. We're going to switch this. We're going to click any one of these buttons here, and it's going to pull up the message key or the message rotor alignment. You're going to change this to what the output is, S, and then it's going to be T. You can fast forward if you'd like, N, and then R, and then it is going to be P, and then it is going to be K, and then it is going to be V. You're going to set it, and then we're going to pull up Notepad, and we are going to copy that information in. Sierra Tango November Romeo Papa Kilo Victor. All right, now we have that. It's going to get our message ready in case we want to print this. Let's do the time date. In my case, it would be, well, first off, we need to designate whether it's going to be a routine message, whether it's going to be a priority message, or you could write P. In this case, it would be I for immediate. Routine, immediate, or flash, which means I did this message quick. You got to get, drop what you're doing, get to this right now. Immediate is whatever you're doing, finish it up and get to it within an hour, as fast as you can. And then routine is just get to it when you can, just make sure it's on the same day. So let's do a routine. The day is going to be, let's see, the day is going to be the 11th. Let's see, what time is it? It is going to be 4:10 in the morning. We'll do Zulu, although it's not Zulu. Now, whatever, let's see, Zulu, so that would be 11:10 Zulu time, and then it's going to be October 23, and then it's going to be, let's see, from Alice to Bob, and then we're going to write this out. Let's see, it is Sierra Tango November Romeo Papa Kilo and Victor. And as you can see, I did make a mistake, but as you can see, we create a message key, and then we we encrypt it. Now, this is what we're using to encrypt the message. So I did make a mistake. So this is the actual rotor key, but we don't want to send that. We want to send the the message key that you have to input in order to get this. So we put what it was before: alpha, 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 Bravo, Bravo, Charlie, Charlie. Obviously I don't recommend you doing this, but if need be, you could type something like this in. It'll randomize it to this, and then you could type this in, going back to P, resetting it, resetting these, of course, to what the what the monthly key would be, the monthly rotor alignment, and then you would type this in, and then get out whatever would be that, whatever that would output. But in this case, we type this in. This would be our monthly key, and this is going to be our message key. Well, I apologize. I mean, from the monthly key, we would get this, and then from this, we would get that. So from the monthly key, we get, we type in this, and that would output that. And this would be the actual key, but it's encrypted because you have to type this in. This goes with the message itself. So it would be, get rid of that, we get rid of that, and then we're going to put that there, get rid of that, and we are going to put, we're actually going to leave that there. We don't need that, because we don't want anyone else knowing. Alright, now that we have this here, we can click the delete button to clear the tape. We click this to reset the counter, and then let's say I want to go to E. Alright, let's go ahead and reset the counter again. We click this button and it takes us to the auto typing, and let's rewrite the message again. My dear. Now this machine will, as you can see, will only process letters, numbers, and spaces. So, my dear, I have missed you so, and the nights are so long without you. My brother, visit and here. Get back from your work with much love, anticipation, and appreciation. Yours always, Alice. Alright. Wonderful. And then we go ahead and start that. And it's going to go ahead and encrypt all of that. Let's go ahead and see how this works. All right, so as you can see, 243 characters have been encrypted since power on, or at least since we did this message. However, we need to round it off to 5-letter groups. So what we're going to do is we are going to encrypt the space key, and we are going to encrypt it once and then twice again to round it off to 245. Then you're going to click the tape, and then it's going to pop up this. You're going to click to clipboard. You're going to close this. Then we are going to exit out of this. It is no longer needed. And then we go to the next line, Control V. Let's get rid of this. There we go. And here we go. We have the message we want. And then we would send this in an email with pretty good privacy, although preferably you would want to print it and then send it via post mail. That would be the most secure because it would fulfill the requirements of the offline rotor machine. But if need be, you can send it because it is 112-bit entropy of key space. So that, considering it's just as good as triple DES or the 3DES or the triple data encryption standard, it's the same standard used for the ATMs that you pay at the pay pump. It's the same cipher, so it works. So we know it's strong. You just have to make sure to rewire the rotors before you use it, unless you want to, because the wiring that it comes with is public knowledge because it's the default rotors. You want to rewire them, make a new set for yourself. As I said, as a reminder, keep it on the hard drive. Do not ever let it touch the internet. Now, that being said, we can save it and then print it, although preferably what you would want to do is not save it, leave it as such, and then you would want to go to print. Now, when you do print, one word of advice, using the font, use Courier New, regular, and 10. That would make it large enough for you to read it, but small enough for you to cut out the paper that's not needed and then slide it quite comfortably into a number 10 envelope, security envelope. And if you've got a number 9 and a smaller one, or I believe it's a number 7, or was it number 9? I don't remember, but a smaller one, you can just fold it in half and stick it in there. As long as it is a security envelope, you will do just fine. All right, now you have learned and you have seen the decent security of the Vegeneer cipher to ensure a secure offline communication channel, and you have also learned how to use the KL7 American rotor cipher machine, a mechanized cipher, to create which does have good provable security as long as the rotor wiring is secret. And a new message key is used. Even if you only use one message key per month, as long as you use a different message key per message, you are totally fine. Now, that being said, you've learned the Vegeneer cipher and you've learned the KL7 rotor machine. Print it out and deliver it to your friend, and you have now secured an offline communications channel between you and your friend, or you and your partner, your loved one, etc. You can even do this with business as long as it's offline. Although if you're going to do business or discuss medical information, or if it's not non-sensitive information such as a casual chat, then, and it's confidential or secret information, please do this. Please do this. And if you do have to double encrypt it, go here and create a whole new one. Create a second one. This will be used for the first. This will be used for the first encryption/decryption process. This one for the second phase. So, for example, if this was after this was done encrypting, you would type this, you would input this, and then you would find out, okay, well, once I have encrypted this, then then the real message key would pop up. I use that to encrypt this again or to decrypt it again. And that's how double encrypted messages work. Now, with that being said, you now know them both. Why don't I go ahead and show you a real life example? Yeah, let's do that. Let me show you a real life example. All right, well, you've gone this far, might as well finish it up. Here we go. Hello there. Now you know about ciphers. Wonderful. Now you know about ciphers, analog ciphers. You got a general idea of what digital ciphers are. And now on top of that, you know how to make your own ciphertext to create a secure communication channel between you and your friend. But the question is, now that this channel's been created, how are you going to start exchanging that outside of the internet? That's a little weird now, isn't it? Yeah, well, what if you guys work different schedules? What if you work nighttime and he works daytime? Or vice versa? What if you work the morning, he works the afternoon? How are you guys gonna communicate with each other? Well, I'm gonna give you a quick example, real world example of what to do, how to communicate with your friend indirectly, perhaps even on the same day. All right, publicly, mind you, yet discreetly. All right, so why don't we go on a journey, you and I, on this Discovery Channel, totally not related, on ciphers. Let's go. Local Public Library, second story, aisle 1, nonfiction section, JFK by Frederick Vogel, 172.